Hello and welcome again to Your Money, Your Power. Do you know that going to school only teaches you one type of education, but that to truly make it in life, you need more than just that? Today, I'm going to be telling you 7 types of education that you must have, whether you have been to school or you're out of school or you've never been to school at all. Now, the first kind of education that you must have is formal education, and that's the one that most of us know. It is going to school, getting your degree. Now, formal education is important. Why? Because it permits you to know how to read and write, because whether you like it or not, whatever you try to do on earth, you should be able to read, write, to think analytically, to think conceptually. You may have to sign a check, you need to read a contract, you need formal education. It's very important. I've heard people say that education is a scam. Education is not a scam. Try being an illiterate and then you understand that formal education is important. Now, formal education will not automatically make you wealthy. Sometime early this year, there was something on the news where some people who had PhD went to the ministry they were on strike because they didn't have employment. Formal education does not automatically mean that you are going to make it in life. Now, it's very important. Let's say you're a hairdresser and a client comes to you to maybe relax her hair or so. You need to be able to read the instructions on the relaxer so you know which one is the activator, which one is the shampoo. You need formal education. Now, the second kind of education that you must have is financial education. Financial education is basically knowing how to make money, how to manage money, how to multiply your money. You see, a lot of us went to school, but we do nothing. If they ask you what is the stock exchange market, you cannot explain. If they ask you what is a bond, what is a treasury bill, you have no idea. You work, you earn $1 million, but you have no savings. You have no project, you don't budget, you don't save nothing because you lack financial education. Financial education in this day and time is a must-have for every person that wants to stay financially afloat. The next kind of education, number 3, is digital education. Digital education basically is just living in the time that you find yourself in. You cannot succeed on this earth right now, in this generation, without digital education. Do you know AI? Do you know, can you sell yourself on social media? Can you sell your skill? Can you sell a product? Can you sell a business? Most of our sales this day pass through social media. So digital education is a must-have. We're now in the days of AI. People are using AI to make money. People are using YouTube to make money, Facebook to make, TikTok to make money. You need digital education. The next education that you must have is spiritual education. Now, you need to understand that the spiritual controls the physical. I know someone who had a very, very good job, but that quit her job because of spiritual attacks. So they pay you well, but you go to work, you can't work because you keep having, you hear those stories all the time now. People go to the office and then they see blood here, or they see burnt candles, they see charms have been tied, and they can't work in that environment and they leave. And spiritual education is so important that when you are faced with that spiritual problem, your formal education will not help you. Financial education will not help you. Whatever digital education will not help you when you are faced with a spiritual issue. So you need to have spiritual education. The next one is professional education. Now, many times when you see an advertisement for a job, they will say, we need someone who has 5 years experience, who knows Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. That is professional education. Professional education is what makes you able to cope in the job market. For example, it teaches you, when you have professional education, you understand team spirit, teamwork, you understand how to resolve conflict in your work environment. Professional education is very important. And the next one that you need to have is personal education. Personal education is really just knowing yourself, knowing your likes and your dislikes, knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, knowing when you're tired. That people who have gone to work, worked and passed out at work and died because they did not have personal education. They did not know when they were tired. They never knew when to give their body a break. So you need to have personal education. You need to know, for example, that, okay, I'm an introvert, and don't go and take the job of an extrovert if you're an introvert. Someone like me, for example, I don't like traveling. So I already know that if there's a job that's going to be asking me to travel from place to place, that job is not for me. I'm someone I like to be on the same spot doing, and that's why I'm a baker, because I'm only in my oven and in my decoration room every day, and I'm comfortable like that. You need to know yourself to be able to make it in life. And finally, you need social education. Social education is basically you knowing how to communicate, knowing empathy. That people who they lack empathy. Sometimes you go on social media and then somebody dies, and somebody puts a laughing emoji there, and somebody gives a silly comment. When somebody has died, they lack empathy because they don't have social education. Some people don't even know how to manage relationships because they lack social education. To make it in life, you need more than just academic education. Now, have you identified some of the educations that you lack? Because I have, and I'm seriously working on the ones that I don't have. To make it in life, you need to know or have these 7 types of education. I hope that this video has been of help to you. Please share it with someone. Thank you.